girls, before we do our reading for the article called How Banks Work, I want to go over some vocab words with you so that you understand the article. The first word is vault. Okay? A vault is a room with thick walls, a heavy door, and a lock. It's usually found in the back of banks, and because it's a room with thick walls, a heavy door, a big lock, and found in the back of the room, you can basically understand or guess that it's for major safety purposes, and things inside the vault would be really important. The next word is anecdote. An anecdote is a short, amusing, or interesting story about a real person or incident. One of the questions at the end of the article is going to ask you about an anecdote, and you're going to want to really focus in on this word amusing, okay? If something's amusing, it's generally entertaining. So that's going to be your hint for that question. The next word, benefits. This is a word that has come up quite a few times in our readings, and it asked about benefits and advantages in some of our short response questions, and some of us really struggle with what this word means. So let's review this again. Benefits are something that is good. Okay, it's an advantage. When you think of benefits, you should be thinking 2 thumbs up. These are good things. So if they ask you about the benefits of something, you're going to be thinking, what good things came from this? The last word is interest. Interest has different meanings, but because we're talking about how banks work, the word interest here has to do with money, okay? So interest is it's money paid regularly at a rate, okay? So it's usually a percentage rate. So an example of this is if someone borrows money, okay, if money is lent, or if you have a savings account, every month the bank adds interest at a low rate and you earn money. It collects into your savings account. So these are some words that we have to have some familiarity with before we read how banks work together.
Have you ever noticed the vault when you go to the bank? A vault is a room, usually at the back of the bank, with thick walls, a heavy door, and a big lock. All banks have one. When I was a kid, I thought the vault at my bank was where the bank kept all the money that people put into their accounts. I thought it was piled high with crisp green bills and shiny coins. Then one day I was at the bank with my dad, and the vault door was open just a crack. While my dad talked to a friend, I sneaked over to the vault to peek inside. Do you know what I saw? There was no money at all inside, not even a penny, just rows and rows of little metal drawers. There's no money in the bank? There's no money in the bank, I shouted as I ran back to my dad. Everyone in the bank stopped talking and looked at me. The bank manager ran out of his office, red-faced and excited. Why are you telling everyone that the bank has no money? He asked. Somebody must have stolen it, I said. There isn't a single coin in the vault. The bank manager smiled and let out a big sigh. Then he explained to me how a bank works. It turns out that the little metal drawers I saw in the vault are called safe deposit boxes. A bank's customers use those boxes to store their valuables, such as jewelry and important papers. Cash is usually kept in a separate hidden area at the back of the vault. But I learned that most of the money people put into a bank isn't kept inside the bank at all. When you put money into a bank, it's called making a deposit. The bank teller carefully notes the exact amount of your deposit. The cash you deposit is then mixed up with money other people have deposited, but instead of leaving that money in the vault, the bank lends it out. It lends money to people to help them pay for expensive things they can't afford on their own, like houses or cars. Banks also lend money to help people start or expand businesses. People who receive these loans pay the bank back over time, usually in monthly payments. They also pay the bank a little extra money called interest. The extra money the bank makes from interest on loans helps pay for the cost of running the bank. Sometimes people are surprised to learn that the money they put into a bank is loaned out to other people. I was. After all, it's our money, not the bank's. But the bank pays depositors for being able to lend their money. Those payments are also called interest, and they are based on a percentage of the amount that's been deposited. A bank doesn't lend out all of its depositors' money. It always holds plenty of money back to make sure it has enough when people want to take their money out. Banks must obey strict rules about this. Also, a government agency called the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, insures deposits at most banks up to $100,000. That means that if your bank got into trouble and couldn't give your money back, this agency would step in and pay you back up to $100,000. That hardly ever happens, but when you open a bank account, it's a good idea to make sure your money is insured by the FDIC. Banks have changed a lot since I was a little girl, but they still take deposits and make loans just as they did when I peeked into my bank's vault so many years ago. Though I didn't know it then, there's one thing I now know. All your money may not be locked inside the thick walls of your bank's vault, but it's as safe as can be.